Hi, this episode is for absolute beginners, especially for people who learn differently. If you have ADHD, dyslexia, or you identify as neurodivergent, this episode was made with you in mind. And when I say neurodivergent, I mean brains that process information differently. Sometimes it's ADHD, sometimes dyslexia, sometimes a mix of the things like hyperactivity, deep focus, or needing more repetition. You don't need a diagnosis to know how your brain works. If you already braid comfortably, you may want to skip to episode 4, where we'll actually start to beginning the braiding process. But if you're new and you want to understand what your hands are supposed to do or be doing, stay here. Before we talk about braiding, we need to talk about hand movement. A lot of people think braiding is about copying someone else's fingers exactly. It's not. Braiding is about coordination, not limitation. When you first start braiding, especially if you're neurodivergent, your hands don't know their role yet. One hand doesn't know when to hold, the other hand doesn't know when to pass. And your brain is trying to control everything at the same time. That can feel overwhelming very quickly. That doesn't mean that you're doing it wrong. It means your brain is processing it all and a lot at once. Remember the shoe tying example in the last episode? Everyone ties their shoes a little differently. The hand movements aren't identical, but the result is. Braiding works exactly the same way. You may hold your hair differently than I do. You may braid underhand, overhand, etc. Your fingers may move in a way that feels more natural to you. And that's perfectly fine. What matters is not copying my hands exactly. What matters is understanding how your hands will work together to create the pattern. That's it. Before you ever braid, your hands need to understand 3 simple rules. 1, your hand holds tension. One hand braid passes the section, and the other prepares for the next move. That is it. You don't need to master this today. You just need to be aware that each hand has a job. In the beginning, it's normal, especially for neurodivergent learners, to feel clumsy. Your fingers may feel slow, you might drop sections, and you might stop and restart a lot. That's not failure. That's your brain building a map. Every time you try, your brain is learning where your fingers are in place. That's muscle memory. And it's very important, and it only comes from repetition, not talent. If you feel like you need to rewatch this episode, that is okay. Many neurodivergent brains, like mine, need to hear information more than once before it fully clicks. Me, 5 times. So don't ever feel bad. And I want you to hear this clearly. Processing deeply is not a weakness. It's a superpower. When your brain takes more time, it's because it's building stronger connections. That deep processing is what leads you to better understanding, stronger muscle memory, and more consistent results later. This is exactly why we are not rushing into braiding yet. Your hands need time to understand movement without pressure. Once your hands feel less confused, braiding becomes much, much easier. That's when rhythm starts to develop. And once rhythm develops, confidence follows. You don't need to compare your hands to anyone else's. The only comparison that matters here is between what you felt hard before and what feels easier now. Progress is personal. In the next episode, we'll talk about hair and tools, what you actually need and what you don't. And in episode 4, we'll finally begin braiding together at a pace that allows your brain and your hands to work together. This episode helped you to understand your hands a little better. You can subscribe so you don't miss another episode. Take your time. There is no rush here. My name is Okanti. Thank you for being here.